knowing what you know now or have learned through this class about top-down and bottom-up attention, what are your views on multitasking and have they changed at all? Reggie, during his time, of course, believed he was multitasking, and was he correct to do so? Was he fair in making the assumption that he would have been able to send just a short text message while still driving? According to medicaldaily.com, 70% of people say that they are above average multitaskers, which of course is a little funny on its own, but when we look into that statistic, is it because we have a natural bias to ourselves, or do we truly just believe that we are really good at multitasking? We can all do some of it, certainly. If you're in the car, you're probably listening to music. If you're writing something, maybe you're also talking to someone. There's a lot of things, a lot of very basic tasks that are completely possible to do at the same time, but it also brings up the question of, are we doing each of those tasks to the fullest potential that we can, the greatest that we can, or referencing back to the fight between our bottom-up and top-down attention, are we still sacrificing parts of both of those tasks in order to do them at the same time? One of the researchers and research that was referenced in the book was done by Dr. Ghazali. And according to his research, our attention is more like a laser than it is a light beam. That is, that it's even more powerful than we might sometimes think of it as, but that it's even more limited than we believe it to be. And in that way, one of the things that he mentions is the cocktail party effect. If you've ever been in a school gymnasium or a big party, you can probably get a pretty good idea of what this is. Because when we're in very crowded spaces, a lot of the conversation, a lot of the outside noise is completely drowned out. And yet we're still able to focus on our own conversation. Or sometimes, if we're just chilling, we can direct our attention and pick out random conversations for a short period of time, maybe a longer period of time, regardless. But the rest of it is still outside noise. We're still able to use our top-down attention to pick out that very specific item. And Dr. Ghazali explains that a lot of this is due to a fight within our brain, and that when we look at the lower part of our brain and direct our attention towards the stem, what we have is a lot of regions that are tuned to make very quick reactions. They're tuned to very basic instincts that we've kept beside ourselves for a long time. It's been helpful to us to make very quick reactions, to get us out of danger, to find a mate, etc. But that all comes into contradiction with other parts of our brain, such as the frontal lobe, which is directing towards a lot more higher functioning results. It's what we profess that we want to focus on that is fighting with what our brain is focusing on in the moment, what it wants to do to fill our most basic needs versus what we want to do to fulfill ourselves or to get somewhere. All in all, what this should say to you is, first of all, do you think you're a good multitasker? Is it true that we can multitask, or is it only the most basic of functions? And when you're thinking of that, think of yourself in Reggie's situation. What percent of you every once in a while may send a text message or an email while you're driving? Is it fair to do so?